My name is Jeremy Bailey, and I'm a resident of Burrillville. I was born and raised here. I have a master's degree in engineering. I'm also a local full-time realtor. I've worked for General Electric as an engineer. I've worked for General Dynamics. And I can tell you one thing certain. Every proposal we've ever worked on, everything we've ever did, the numbers were always rosy-colored. Everything that I can ever remember selling either to the government or to the private sector always struggled to meet the specs. But since it was already sold, the customer had no choice but to deal with it and to work within those specs to try to correct them. Invenergy sent some people around to speak with some of our local residents a while ago. One of the residents asked, "What about the noise?" He was told, "We can't really tell what the noise level is going to be. We put a number in the application. However, until it's built and we've actually turned it on, will we know what the sound levels and the decibel levels are going to be." As soon as I heard that, I had to laugh and I said, "Yeah, that's pretty much been my entire life as an engineer. You give the real numbers if you have them. Upper management takes those and spins those to make sure they can sell the product." I have many friends, families, and loved ones that are union employees. They work as pipe fitters, laborers, electricians, policemen, firemen, teachers, and others. I support local projects that produce not only jobs for our union workers, but that'll produce many long-term, full-time jobs for our local citizens as well. Let's find good projects in Burrillville for our unions that doesn't severely pollute our town. Many of you will probably not be surprised to find out that out of the many friends and families that I have that are union members, they did not support this project. Why? Because they live in Burrillville and they understand the negative consequences and the pollution that's associated with this plant. I was kind of surprised to find that the ones that wanted to speak out against it or that didn't support it were told they better be here anyway. I moved back to Burrillville in 2011 because I wanted a quiet, safe, and healthy environment for my wife and 3 children. We already have 3 compression stations in town that emits millions of harmful particles into our local atmosphere. Now you're considering building a second power plant that will emit thousands of pounds of carcinogens into the air every year. I understand that with every project there are pros and cons. After analyzing the 471-page application that was submitted by Invenergy to the state of Rhode Island, I have concluded that the cons far outweigh the pros. And some of these are quite redundant, as we've heard many times tonight, but I'm going to go through them really quickly. The pros of this project: we're going to get hundreds of temporary jobs. We're going to get a very small handful of full-time jobs. We're going to potentially clean out a contaminated well. Potentially, but we've all heard the concerns of MTBE, which seem to be legitimate from the research that I've done. And there's going to be some unknown tax revenue to the town of Burrillville. Not to the citizens, to the town of Burrillville. The cons of this project: there's only going to be a handful of permanent full-time jobs. We're going to invest $700 million into a project that's going to create maybe a couple of dozen full-time jobs. However, it's going to increase the pollution by 100 times, according to the last gentleman that spoke. We're going to increase wear and tear on roadways, both during and after construction. We're going to increase pollution to our state, both all chemical, noise, and light. There's going to be thousands of pounds of various chemical pollutions, which are known carcinogens, from exhaust gases, which will be released into the air every year. This is taken right out of the application from Invenergy. We may reduce the pollutants, but not locally. Carcinogens are not good for anybody. That's why they're called carcinogens. They cause cancer. Noise pollution that's higher than our town ordinances allows. There is going to be noise pollution from this proposed plant, according to their application already. Who knows what the reality is going to be? That's going to be above what our town ordinance say. And in their application, they make a lame argument that the existing gas compression station already makes a lot of noise. It's in there, I'm paraphrasing, but it's in there. Go check it out, folks. We've been told that upon completion of the new compression station that the majority of that noise will be eliminated. So that was a poor and cleverly crafted comparison by Invenergy. There's going to be light and sight pollution. I live on a pristine lake about 3/4 of a mile south of this proposed plant. There's going to be two 200-foot plus exhaust stacks towering above the trees. They're going to be polluting the view from our waterfront properties. And in case you're not sure what that's going to look like, please look at table 6.12-4 of the application that Invenergy submitted. However, it's zoomed way out, so it's tough to tell. If you'd like to see what it's really going to look like, I've enhanced the photo and I'll be happy to share it with you. I've zoomed in. There's also several other pictures that they were required to take from various points in town, and although I'm not certain, I believe they were pointed in the wrong direction to wrongly show that these stacks are not in view. I could be wrong, but again, that's something I would have the board question. There's going to be a general nighttime glow that's going to pollute our dark night sky that we all cherish so much, which is why so many of us move back out to Burrillville and live in Burrillville. There's going to be blinking lights on those towers every night. Blinking lights. They're not shooting stars. They're letting terrorists know right here, right here, right here. There is a severe and illegitimate potential of spreading MTBE into our atmosphere and into our downstream rivers, if not filtered correctly. This will be the first time anyone has ever used MTBE-contaminated water to cool a power plant. I'm quite sure from the research that I've done. If I'm wrong, I'd be happy to be corrected and look at some data. They're going to be filling in or permanently altering almost 3 acres of wetlands. In their application, it states up to 60 days a year the plant can run on oil. That's on page 34. Although the gentleman here said they're going to run 5 days a year, I say the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
We're getting close to our ending time.
Okay, this could mean over 200 oil tanker trucks every 3 to 5 days going through our town and surrounding towns to refill these oil tanks when they're running on oil. What happens if one of those trucks spills and pollutes the aquifer that this town and other towns rely on for their clean water supply? Where will Invenergy be then? I'll tell you where. They're going to say, well, those trucks don't belong to us, and the small company that has a $1 million policy on them that cannot afford the billions of dollars to clean up, that's on them. They're going to go bankrupt, and then the town's going to...
I'm sorry, you're reading a little too fast, and I just...
Oh, I'm sorry, I tend to be a little feisty at times.
That's okay, I'm sorry.
Okay. You're doing a great job, though.
You have a $1 million policy.
Okay, so where will Invenergy be then? I'll tell you where. They're going to tell us that that small company that's driving the truck with their $1 million insurance policy is responsible. They're going to be nowhere to be found. That small trucking company is going to go out of business, and again, Burrillville will be left with some level of contamination that we're going to have to deal with. We're going to have decreased property values. 3 realtors, myself included, have already lost sales in Burrillville due to the thought of the proposed power plant. The local real estate market will forever be tainted with the facts of this power plant when anyone does an internet search on this area. It will likely cripple our high-end $500,000+ real estate market. The entrepreneurs and executives that purchase these homes will look to other communities to purchase these homes. There's little to no benefit from the power generated by this plant locally. This plant will be built by a business for business sake. It would be built for one reason, for them and their investors to make a profit. Let's quickly talk about DEM and what it stands for. Now this is taken from DEM's website, so if I
We're
read...
4 minutes over, and we're getting close to the end.
Okay.
A lot of other people.
All right, I'll let other people go and I'll save this for the next one, and we'll take it from there. Thank you.